بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. The fifth point the author says عليك بالبدء بالكتب القصيرة. بعض الشباب الصغار يكونون متحمسين في أول أمرهم وهذا أمر محمود لكنهم يبدأون بمطالة الكتب والقراءة دون استشارة. طيب. The fifth point was starting off with small books, summarized books. نعم. طيب. Moving forward to the sixth point. As we explained that, the author says العناية بما كتب حول الكتاب الذي تريد قراءته. It says paying attention and dealing with the information, the facts of the book, the history of the book. The different things that you can find out about the author and about the book. بإذن الله تعالى. مثلا لو أردت أن تقرأ شرح ابن رجب رحمه الله على كتاب النووي الأربعين النووية، أو تريد أن تقرأ شرح الصنعاني رحمه الله سبل السلام على كتاب بلوغ المرام، فاحرص أن تقرأ عن كتاب سبل السلام وعن منهج المؤلف ومصطلحاته وطريقته وكذا ترجمة المؤلف. هذه الأمور وأمثالها تعطيك إحاطة ومحبة وفهما لمنهج المؤلف وتنير لك الدرب أثناء القراءة، بخلاف ما لو قرأته وأنت لا تعرف عنه شيئا فقد تأتيك مصطلحات في الكتاب فتخطي في تفسيرها أو تقاسيها على غيرها أو تقيسها على غيرها فيكون القياس غير مطابق. He says here, for example, you want to read Ibn Rajab's explanation of Nawawi's 40 Hadith, that which is known as Jami' al-Ulum al-Hikam. Or you want to read Subul al-Salam, the explanation of Bulugh al-Maram, as-San'ani, his sharh of Ibn Hajar's book, Bulugh al-Maram, Subul al-Salam. He says then you should know about the methodology and their systematic style and way of writing these books. All right, the different terminologies that they have. They may have codes, maybe a certain language that they're using, etc. He says, and this bin title will get you a more thorough understanding of the book, and it will also allow you to see clearly. Bidnillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, as far as you read the book, you may have some issues with understanding certain words, certain terms, certain specific styles to the author, or you may compare it to something else or explain it, and you may make a mistake. You may make an error. You may make a mistake. فمثلا رمز قاف في تقريب التهذيب ابن حجر يختلف عن رمز قاف في الجامع الصغير للسيوطي، ففي تقريب التهذيب يشير إلى ابن ماجه القزويني، بينما في الجامع الصغير يشير إلى قوله متفق عليه. وكلمة متفق عليه في منطق الأخبار لمجد الدين ابن تيمية تعني الإمام أحمد والبخاري ومسلما، بينما عند غيره تعني البخاري ومسلما فقط. وهذا مثال على تغير معاني الرموز، فكيف بتغير مناهج الشراح ومصطلحاتهم في أحكامهم. Author makes an example of this by saying the letter Qaf. He says in the book of Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, Taqrib al-Tahdhib, which is a summarized book on Rijal, on Ruwat, on narratives of Hadith. When he uses the word Qaf, or the letter Qaf, the code, then what he means by that is, or he says then it's different than the book of As-Suyuti al-Jami' al-Saghir, compilation of Ahadith. The famous book of Shaykh al-Albani, Sahih al-Jami' is based off of that. Naam. And Da'if al-Jami' as well. He says, so Ibn Hajar means Ibn Majah al-Qazwini. The Qaf is representing Qazwin, Ibn Majah's lineage, where he comes from, his background. And the Qaf in al-Jami' al-Saghir of Suyuti, it means Muttafaqun alayhi. Muttafaq, the Qaf, for Bukhari and Muslim. Also, the word or the term Muttafaqun alayhi, according to Majd al-Din ibn Taymiyyah's grandfather, the author of Muntaqa al-Akhbar, that's the original work of Shawkani's Nail al-Awtar. Shawkani made a sharh of Muntaqa al-Akhbar. Naam. Tayyib. He means Bukhari, Muslim, and Ahmed when he says agreed upon. And others, they mean Bukhari and Muslim. He says, so this is an example of the different codes and the different terminologies and the styles and the methods of the authors of the books, of the compilers, of the explainers of the books, etc. So this is clear, the point is clear. It's to get a general background of the book. And alhamdulillah, we mentioned this before with regards to reading the introduction. Most of these points of information you'll find in the introduction of the book. Okay, well known. طيب, not all, but most. Another very important point is it would have been better for the author to make an example within the two books that he mentioned first. He mentioned Jami' al-Ulum al-Hikam, and then he mentioned Subul al-Salam. And he didn't mention anything of importance or significance of their codes and their styles and their terminologies with those two examples. We know he was just mentioning examples, but that would have been better, it would have been easier for the beginner. If you mention a book, for an example, you want to read Ibn Rajab's book, then here is an example of how you can misunderstand Ibn Rajab's kalam. There's an example of how you can misinterpret as-San'ani's kalam. All right? And then he went on to mention rumuz, codes, instead of actually getting into the first two books that he mentioned. And there aren't too many codes in Ibn Rajab's book or San'ani's book. So that's a bit of, that definitely could have been much better. All right? What's important is the maqsood is that get general information on the book before you read it if you can. Khairan inshallah. Point number 7. Author says, ikhtiyar aqsar al-shuruh. He says, choosing and picking the smallest and the shortest explanations possible. Picking the smallest and shortest explanations possible. Some of this we've already previously explained. With regards to summarized books, time, starting off as a beginner. Also with hifd as well, the author explained that. With regards to not starting off by something too big and making a tajzi'ah, or slicing up the things that you want to memorize, categorizing and breaking them down. We explained that. طيب, with regards to size. طيب, the author he says, إذا كان المقروء مشروحا وكان له عدة شروح فعليك باختيار أخصرها وعليك بمشاورة علمائك أو كبار طلبة العلم. وأوصي نفسي وطالب العلم أن يبدأ بالمختصرات سواء في المتون أو في الشراح أو في الشروح، وسيرى أنه يزداد تحصيلا وإحاطة بالمتن وشرح المختصر. فمثلا إذا كنت تريد أن تقرأ كتاب التوحيد فهناك شروح وحواش كثيرة كفتح المجيد وتيسير العزيز الحميد، وكذا شروح الشيخ ابن عثيمين والفوزان، وكذا حواش أخصر مما قبلها. فلو بدأت مثلا بحاشية الشيخ بن القاسم ثم انطلقت وتوسعت في الشروح الأصغر ثم الأكبر لكان ذلك أجمع للفائدة في ذهنك. Author says, basically he's saying here that whatever you're reading, if it's a sharh of a matan, an explanation of a matan, then start off with the smallest sharh as possible. And he says, and seek the counsel, seek the guidance, consult the ulama, and consult the senior students of knowledge. I advise myself and all the students of knowledge to start off with the small books, regardless whether it's a matan, whether it's a sharh, because it's going to make you stronger, it's going to allow you to grow, it's going to allow you to develop and to mature. Now, he says, for example, Kitab al-Tawheed have many different explanations. And there are also many different shuruh or hawashi, the different notes as well to Kitab al-Tawheed. Now, he says, such as Fath al-Majid, such as Taysir al-Aziz al-Hamid, such as Ibn Uthaymin, such as al-Fawzan, and there are other things which are shorter than that. He says, so for example, if you started off with the notes of Ibn al-Qasim, and then you went on to the books that are a bit bigger, a bit larger, a bit longer, so on and so forth, then that would be better for you. That'd be easier for you to comprehend and to gain a thorough understanding. Type, and you mentioned this before, as we previously said, with regards to hifz. A quick 10b, a note is very important not to misunderstand, is that shorter does not always mean easier. Shorter does not always mean easier. There are some books, and we said this before, which are short and concise, but the language is more difficult. The author lived in a different time, a different era. He's from a different country. His language may be harder to understand than a bigger book. So an example of this is Ibn Qasim's Sheikh Abdurrahman ibn Najdi, his sharh of مثلا of Kitab al-Tawheed is not as easy as Sheikh Fawzan's explanation of Kitab al-Tawheed, or even Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen's. Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen's is in 2 volumes. Some prints have 3 volumes. Sheikh Fawzan's in two volumes. I'anatul Mustafid. If you read the sharh of Sheikh Fawzan and the sharh of Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen, there is no doubt as a beginner student, it's 10 times more easy. They have the definitions, they have the breakdowns, they have the examples. It's in a simple, basic language that's clearly understood. And you read the other classical works, which has the explanations and so on and so forth, but sometimes it's a bit different. It's not made for a beginner, or the book may not be written for everyone. It may be written just for someone who's originally of the Arabic tongue, whereas Sheikh Uthaymeen's book may be for someone of the Arabic tongue, someone who learned Arabic, whatever the case may be. So don't be deceived by size. Now, a small gun may pack a big punch. All right, it's well known. Just because it's a smaller gun or a bigger gun doesn't mean it's a more powerful gun. Okay, so if you can find small size and more a relatively easy lugha, then of course that's the maqsood. And we can all agree here with the author and everyone can benefit. But if you can't find concise mukhtasar with easy language, then get the bigger book that has the easier language. Khairan inshallah. Number 8, taqsim al-qira'ah. And basically the author is he's reiterating a lot of the different points of the memorization as well. He says taqsim al-qira'ah is to split up how much you read, divide it and section it off, just like the mahfuz, just like what he mentioned before in the previous chapter. إذا كان الكتاب المقروء في مبحث معين فحاول أن تقسم ذلك على الأسطر أو على المواضيع. خير إن شاء الله. We're not going to repeat that for lack of time. Just take down the point. It's the same point. It's a shared point. Is taqsim al-mahfuz or tajzi'at al-mahfuz and taqsim al-maqru'. Section off what you read and section off what you memorize. Don't just take it all at once. Number 9, توثيق التاريخ أو توثيق تاريخ البدء والختم. Is write down when you begin the book and when you end the book. What is the day, the time, the hour, the city, the place, the year in which you started reading the book and when you finished the book. تكتب في بداية الكتاب بدأت في قراءة الكتاب في يوم كذا، وإذا أنهيت قراءته كتبت في آخره أنهيت القراءة في يوم كذا. فهذا أولا صنيع بعض أهل العلم، ثم هذا أدعى للهمة وأقوى للعزيمة. فإذا مرت حقبة زمنية على البدء ثم رأيت تاريخ البدء وتاريخ الختم زادك ذلك أو ذلك همة ونشاطا. وأيضا لو كان الوقت بين البدء والختم أكثر مما يحتاجه الكتاب وعلمت أن ذلك طال بسبب عدم ترتيب وقتك فإن ذلك يعينك على شدة المحافظة على الوقت وعدم التفريط فيه. Author says, when you start the book, writing the first page on such and such a day, and when you finish the book, you write such and such a day. Why? One may ask. The author says, first and foremost, this is what some of the people of knowledge have done. In other words, the author is saying this is a tradition. It's a tradition, a style of some of the ulama. There's nothing wrong with tradition. Alhamdulillah, as long as the tradition doesn't hurt or harm, if it brings you closer to the culture, if it brings you closer to the being real, being professional, being certified, all around. A connoisseur does everything. He follows the tradition to the T. A food connoisseur, he goes into the Italian restaurant, this is what he does. He goes into the Russian restaurant, this is what he eats. This is how he drinks the tea. Okay, he goes into a Polish restaurant, and this is the sweets that he orders after food, and nothing else. He follows the tradition of the people from Poland. There's nothing wrong with that. Being a connoisseur, and like I said, when you follow the tradition, it will take you closer to the original, natural, authentic culture. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. All right, different things we do with regards to stamps, and that's fine. But the problem is when you follow tradition, and it's a means of wasting time, or you follow a tradition and it's a means of preventing you from something that's more beneficial, or you follow a tradition instead of advancing, all right, and progressing, and the tradition may hold you back, and it's useless, it's baseless, it's of no point, it's of no value. That's the problem. When a tradition, you're stuck in a form, you're stuck in cement when it's supposed to be fluid and lucid. It's supposed to be formless. So it's not going to harm you to write when you begin the book and to write when you finish the book. It's not going to harm you. Inshallah, that's a tradition that's not bad. That's nothing wrong with that. It's going to get you closer to being like the true people of the books. That's fine. But we're making a point here is that there are certain traditions in knowledge and what certain scholars and students do, and they have no battlefield use. It's of no value when you're teaching classes and when you go back to your country. How you were taught to do it like this, you don't have to do it like that. And how you were taught to say the khutbah like this, you don't have to say it like that. It's of no benefit to my people. So that's important. And we're speaking about hadith disciple school of thought now, all right, is that traditions are of different types. Certain traditions are totally bad and negative, and they must be abolished and thrown out the window. Certain traditions aren't necessarily bad, but they're not good at the same time. And there's no point in me sticking to a rigid form when I don't have to. And there are other traditions which must be upheld, which must be upheld. And there are certain traditions which are just good, positive things to do. If you want to do them, do them. If you don't want to do them, you don't have to do them. This is Hadith Disciple School of Thought now with regards to traditions and their types. Khairan inshallah. The second reason why you should do this, the author says, this will help you have higher aspiration. This will help you, with the night ta'ala, have a greater thirst and hunger for knowledge. Okay? He says if time goes by and you become stagnated, you become stuck on stupid, as we say, you're not studying, you're not reading how you should be, you barely have enough time for your books, you're stressed out, you're depressed, whatever the case may be, you're sick, whatever the case is, and then you open up the book and say, wow, 4 months have went by and I didn't finish the book yet. I bought this book last year and I didn't finish it yet. It makes you have regret, you feel bad, you feel embarrassed, and it will force you to the ta'ala to what? Get it done. And you realize that you didn't handle your time properly and you didn't respect your time properly, you abused it. That's a very important point that the author has mentioned, is that when you record things and when you document things, oftentimes it is a means of embarrassment to yourself. And this is one of the wisdoms of statistics. Statistics are not always accurate, they're not always right, but when they are right, you say, dag, subhanallah, 20% of kada, 40% kada, 65% of people from this race are like this, and of this age are like that, and from people who come from this country are like this. You feel bad, like, whoa, this is not good. These statistics don't look good for us. Everybody understand this? It's very important here. All right? Moving forward, point number 10, احذر من التعجل في القراءة بقصد الختم. Author says, beware of rushing, beware of haste, beware of trying to fly through the book with the purpose and the intention of finishing the book. Beware of rushing with the purpose of finishing. قد تقرأ كتابا ويبقى منه ورقة أو ورقتان فلا تعجل حذرا من بقائها إلى الغد وبخاصة إذا كان موضوع البحث فيها يحتاج إلى تأمل فعليك بالترفق حتى تقرأ وتتمعن لتفهم وتستفيد فلا تحرم نفسك بسبب التعجل فربما يكون في الورقتين فوائد كثيرة قد تعدل ما سواها. طيب. Author says, when you read a book and there's just 2 pages left, 1 or 2 pages left, he says, don't rush. All right? Just so you know, you say, I want to get this done tonight, so I won't have to do it tomorrow. He says, especially if those last 2 pages or 3 pages hold very important benefits and something that you have to ponder on and reflect on is some deep stuff. Okay? As we would say, subhanAllah, this is deep. All right? Or this is kalam nafis. This is beautiful speech here. This is like major. I need to get it down packed. Don't rush. He says you may prevent yourself from the fawaid. You may prevent yourself from the profound speech because you're in such a rush. And those 2 pages, they may be worth 20 pages or another book. You may come across a statement, a hadith, or Ibn Taymiyyah explained this, so on and so forth. Ibn Qayyim's last final words in his book, which may be better than an entire lecture, an entire book, 60 minutes. So don't scorn fawaid, and don't deprive yourself. Very important point. Very brief commentary is that first and foremost is this is not absolute. This is not absolute because there are some times in which you do have to give yourself a final push to finish your book. Me personally, if I have 2 pages left in a book, or even a chapter, but let's just say, or a volume, and it's late at night or early in the morning, or I'm busy, or whatever the case may be, you're sleepy, whatever, I'm going to push myself to finish those last 2 pages, okay, for several reasons. One, in total contrast to what the author said, so I won't have to do it tomorrow, or I won't have to do it when I come home. 2, it's for the purpose of, it feels like a means of harder work, that I'm going to punish myself when I'm push myself, even though I read a lot. Okay, like say for example, running a lap or doing push-ups, all right, or you're doing curls, you're in the gym. You did your normal workout already, all right, and there's just two more left. And the person you're lifting weights, the one who's spotting says, "Come on, come on, you know, you did good, but just give me two more." We were only supposed to do 10 or 5, however much, however, yani, whatever you're lifting or pushing, all right. But the one who's spotting you, he says, "Give me two more," and then he says, "Give me a third." He pushes you even further. So you have even a more thorough workout, even though you're done. All right. So oftentimes, this is what I like to do, and I think this is more beneficial. All right. As far as it's something that you need to write down and ponder and focus on, then that's one thing. Or the different types of reading, as we explained earlier. You may be reading with speed, and you're not trying to ponder. I'm not trying to reflect. I'm not trying to take my time. I'm actually trying to fly through this book. It's a purpose. It's a 600-page book that I want to fly through. Then later on, I'll go through and I'll dissect it for the fawaid. It depends. Now, they asked Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time, not necessarily the greatest, but one of the greatest. They asked him, how many sit-ups do you do each day, or when you're in your training camp, or when you're working out? He said, I don't start counting until it begins to hurt. He says, once my stomach, my back, my neck, once I'm aching, and then I start actually counting. Before then, I don't keep a count. So it's important for the student knowledge to understand no pain, no gain. لا يستطاع العلم براحة الجسم. You cannot get knowledge unless you suffer. And sometimes you have to push yourself to finish the book. Sometimes you have to push yourself to do one more extra line or one more extra chapter. I'm only going to read 5 chapters from Sahih Bukhari today, and then you end up reading 6. وهكذا. خير إن شاء الله. طيب. Point 11, the author says, إياك والتشعب في أثناء القراءة. He says, beware of becoming split up, becoming off track, losing track when you're reading. في أثناء القراءة قد ترد كلمة غير مفهومة، وهذه الكلمة على قسمين. إن كان فهم الجملة يتوقف على فهمها فابحث عن معناها، وأما إذا كانت الكلمة التي مرت عليك لا تؤثر في الفهم فتجاوزها وضع تحتها خطا لترجع إليها بعدما تفرغ من القراءة. والمراد بالتشعب هنا أن بعض طلبة العلم إذا أراد الرجوع إلى تلك الكلمة التي يقف فهم الجملة على معناها، فإنه أثناء رجوعه إلى كتب اللغة قد يمر في أثناء بحثه بفوائد كثيرة، فيقوم بالاشتغال من قراءة تلك الفوائد والتنقل من ورقة إلى ورقة حتى ينصرف عن البحث الذي هو الأصل في قراءته. ولعل التصرف الأفضل في مثل هذا أن يبحث عن معنى الكلمة التي يريد، فإذا وجد مراده وأكمل قراءته الأصلية رجع بعد ذلك إلى تلك الفوائد التي صادفها في أثناء بحثه عن مراده، ويكون ذلك بتقييد أرقام تلك الفوائد عند مرورها عليها، ثم بعد فراغه من بحثه الأصلي يعود إلى أرقام تلك الصفحات فيقرأ تلك الفوائد بتمعن. وهذا مثال واحد يقاس عليه غيره مما شابهه. فلو أراد الرجوع مثلا إلى التأكد من صحة حديث مر عليه في أثناء قراءته فعليه أن الرجوع إلى مصادر البحث عن الحديث ألا يشتغل بما يمر عليه من المسائل العلمية المتنوعة. The author, he says, when you're reading, you may come across a word that you don't really get. You don't really understand the word. This could be in Arabic or in English. All right? When you learn Arabic, you still need dictionary. You still need the qamus, you still need the ma'ajim, so on and so forth. You still need the gharib. All right? Whether you learn in Arabic or whether you read in Arabic and you need to know the meaning of it in Arabic. The tafsir of it in Arabic. Now, he says a word comes by that you don't really get. So it's one or two scenarios, he says. The first is the word is crucial for the understanding of the actual sentence. And the second scenario is that the word is not crucial for the understanding of the sentence. You get the sentence, you get the story. It's not absolutely necessary that you look it up right now. He says, so if it's not crucially important to the understanding of the sentence or the paragraph or whatever, he says, then underline the word and keep moving forward. Don't stop. Don't look in the dictionary. Don't turn to other books. Why? It's going to break your momentum. It's going to break your rhythm. It's going to get you sidetracked and distracted. He says, and what's meant here by the word tasha'ub, being sidetracked and being distracted, he says there's some students of knowledge, they read certain things and they come across words and they stop to look it up. And when they look up the word, they find all different types of fawaid in the dictionary. This meaning, this synonym, this plural, this, and that. I look for the letter that says مثلا, or word that says مثلا, صلعة مثلا, for example, صلعة. So I go to Sad and I come across a word in law and Zay, oh man, this Sheen, subhanAllah. He says this is what happens, all right? And oftentimes you get so sidetracked that you don't even get to actually find the word salah and get to what it means and going back to the original book that you were reading, all right? He says, so what I think is best is not to necessarily neglect those fawaid, but write down the page numbers, jot down the page numbers, and when you finish your original research, then you go back. And it says the same applies to hadiths. Now I'm looking for a hadith, you come across other hadiths, etc. He says go back and come across those fawaid, be tama'un. You look at them carefully, take your time, but don't get sidetracked. Khair, inshallah. That's what the author is basically saying. Now, this is a good thing, and it's also something which will slow you down and hinder you from really becoming advanced and moving forward in skill. And that's because everything can't be formal. Everything cannot be neat and clean. Everything cannot be in order. There has to be a bit of all over the placeness. All right, it has to be a bit of lack of order. It has to be a bit of ashwa'iyah. It has to be a little wild when you're reading and studying. Everything can't be formal one by one. It got to be a little bit of getting lost and getting stuck in the dictionary, getting stuck in the library. I look for one hadith, I'm referencing Sunan Abi Dawud, and next thing you know, I'm in Musnad Imam Ahmad. It has to be like that. And that's how you multiply. That's how you stack. That's how you make a pyramid of fawaid. Everything can't be simply brick by brick. Every now and then, not all the time, and not the asl. Pay close attention. The asl is what the author is saying, no doubt. But I'm saying from time to time, you have to break off from the asl, and you have to be a little crazy, a little wild. All right? You're only going to read 20 pages tonight, and then some nights you got to stay up all night, read 200 pages. Every now and then. You have to break off. Every now and then, you have to lose the form. Every now and then. Every now and then, go to the library and just pick up a book. Pick up a book. Put a blindfold on. Close your eyes and pick up a book. Open up in the middle of the book and read it for 10 minutes. The book has nothing to do with what you're looking for. But one day you pick up a book which is a dictionary, Arabic words. Another day is Sunan Ibn Majah. A third day it is Aqidah Tahawiyah. A fourth day is Fiqh Hanafi, volume 6 of this book. And then when you have your normal formal studies, you have the sheikhs that are teaching you, you have the classes that you're listening to online, the books that you're reading, the things that you're memorizing, you have the tahfidh, you get that sporadic, out of the middle of nowhere fawaid, and they start to pile up. And then you learn about different books, you learn about different authors, you learn about different styles, you learn hidden gems, precious jewels that you didn't know existed, and you've never ever found them if you were to continue to do step by step. So there has to be a mixture. One could say 70% of the basic formal A, B, C, D, E informed study, and then it has to be 25% of ashwa'iyah. It has to be 25%, 30%, and which is Z, B, A, F, J, R, all over the place. It has to be. And sometimes it's a good thing you become lost when you look for something. And you find things that you would never ever have found if you didn't get sidetracked. It's like driving somewhere. You get lost. And the next thing you know, when you get lost, you find a major shortcut. Or you find a store that you didn't know existed. You come across an antique store. You're looking for one antique store, and you go to another antique store and say, no, that's not it, and this place might be better. So every now and then it's a good thing being lost, and every now and then it's a good thing being sidetracked. But as we said, that is not the asl. The asl has to be system. The asl has to be steps, proper steps. The asl has to be form. Then comes the formless. Khairan, inshallah. Point number 12, the author says, تقييد الفوائد النفيسة. Make sure you write down the precious benefits. Make sure you write these benefits down. You put them down in a notebook, in a daftar, a journal, or a diary. فإذا كنت تقرأ في كتاب فليكن قلمك مصاحبا لك لا ينفك عن أصابعك. فإذا مررت بفائدة نفيسة وكل الفوائد نفيسة لكن الفوائد تتفاوت فقيد تلك الفائدة في غلاف الكتاب أو في دفتر مستقل حتى تعود إليها عند الحاجة. 12th point, he says, when you read a book, your pen should always be close by. your pen should never be far from your fingertips. Whenever you come across a precious fa'idah, and he says all fawaid, all benefits are precious, but some are more precious than others. He says, and write it down in the cover page of the book, the first couple of pages of the book, or in a separate diary, a separate notebook, He says that way you have the ability to go back when you need it, instead of reading the whole entire 400-page book, where you don't have to read it again. You just want something specific. Or you may just need that fa'idah for a munaqasha you're having, a debate, a khutbah that you have to give, a class that you have to give, or you just want your own personal pleasure, whatever the case may be. It's a very important point that the author has mentioned. As far as the topic of notebooks, diaries, journals, that's something within that title that we're going to have to do a separate class on, perhaps even a separate series of classes. And it's a very important staple aspect of Hadith Disciple is the notebook. What notebook should you have? What notebook shouldn't you have? How to write in your notebook? And what are the different types of books and journals? A diary is one thing, a notebook is another. Pocket notebooks, notebooks in your bag, etc. Khairan, inshallah, this is where we'll stop. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to benefit from what we have heard and what we have read today, and to make us all from the true students of knowledge. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Thank you very much for listening. Any questions that you may have, concerns, suggestions, correction of mistakes, criticism, whatever you wish to share, feel free to do so. And Allah Azza wa Jalla will reward you well. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.